So I'm going to copy a file in here. So now edit. Copy pattern from other style. Let's do that one. Wait. Okay. So the grading on this is what's pretty incredible.
And this is StyleCAD.
Yeah, yeah. So you can switch over from one side to the other. This is the pattern. This is a pattern drafting program, and this is the pattern grading. So you come over here, click that, and I have it set up on decimals, but you can set it up on anything, and it's set to 1/64 of an inch sensitivity. So this is the cool thing about this. First of all, I didn't make this pattern. It just exported it in. That's why the customer sent it to me. But I need a middle point. Now let's go back here. All right, so I'm going to grade this. I'm just going to grade this, pretending you weren't here, okay? So I'm going to come over here because I need a notch in here. I needed that right there. I got another 8. Alright, so
this is so great because people ask me for a grading video tutorial. I'm like, I don't know how to grade. I've never graded. I've graded a t-shirt my whole life.
Well, here's the t-shirt. So we've graded 1/2 inch into this.
And that was like 20 seconds, not even.
Yeah, I'm not done yet though. So we've just done the widths here. Okay, we've just done the widths. So now I'm going to do, I did the length right here. I did the length and made the shoulder go up. But I'm going to go ahead and this needs to come down 1/8 right there. And then this one needs to come down another 1/8 right there.
Right, bigger armholes, bigger people.
Yeah, and then this one down here needs to come down another 1/8. So we can figure out total grow in that is, this says it's just 1/8 of an inch, but that's just an 1/8 of an inch from here to here. There's also one in here and one in here and one in here. So anyway, so that looks all very wonderful, right? So there's a multitude of ways that you can, so I just copied that pattern piece. There's a multitude of ways to, because I have to get the grade actually on this side here, right? Isn't that correct? So there's a multitude of ways you can do that. One is you can flip. I made a copy of it, so I'm going to flip this over, flip side to side. Okay? So now I'm going to copy this grade, these grades, and apply them over here. So I go over here to this little button right here. It lets me copy, capture grading data, and I just paste it. Capture grading data, paste it.
That's beautiful.
I know. And like Gerber and stuff, you've got to have these complicated grade rule libraries and all this other stuff. It's horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. And that's all I knew.
I've only ever hand graded, which takes forever.
So this is just, you can see how fast it was, right? And there's still other ways to do it. I have to come back over here. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to draw a line between here. Oops, sorry. Okay, and then I'm going to cut it. Alright. So I have to keep coming back and forth between these two. So now I'm going to put a mirror line on on this one. See? So now this is mirrored. And so then I come over here and I tell it to unfold, fold. I can tell it unfold and I get it ghosted, or I can tell it unfold and keep. No. So there you go.
Ta-da!
And then the way you get rid of this right here is you can either just, delete it, or see how it was, you see that?
It's a very Adobe Illustrator kind of move.
Yeah.
I've heard that the vector drawing skills are compatible, like the AutoCAD programs and drawing flats in Illustrator.
Yeah, there's some analogies. There's some Yeah, I get confused though when I'm going back and forth between Illustrator and the CAD program. I get confused. I get all turned around. So, but yeah, this program, it just does so many amazing things that I just don't know.
So is that back piece all graded now?
Yeah.
And that was a minute. Like, you were slowed down because you had to show us.
Right.
But, wow.
Right, and it's like so that's the thing, and that's why I actually have like, but the thing is, like, if somebody's going to send me a pattern and have me grade it, it's not that fast. And the reason why is because the first thing I have to do is like this pattern right here. I'll open that for you. Actually, I have it right here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is a pattern that this customer sent to me, and
what is that? A kangaroo pocket?
No, it's actually it was imported from a software program, from like Corel, from an Illustrator program.
No, but then why is this here?
This is what imported.
Oh.
Okay, this is what imported. Okay, it wasn't actually a pattern. So what I had to do was actually, I'll show you what I did. So I can take like an Illustrator drawing. You can send me the Illustrator drawing, and I can make a pattern out of it. Here I'm drawing a box. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
So then very quickly I can copy your pattern, from an Illustrator drawing like this.
Oh.
Yeah, it's super fast. And then I'm going to come over here. There's several pieces that are superimposed under here, so you can't tell which one is which, but see how it just like jumps to that?
See, another reason why my students need to be good at flats. Like,
yeah,
you can just
absolutely,
some,
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, exactly, because if they've got a flat and it's to scale, oh, I'm going to love you. Oh my God, I'm going to love you.
Y'all, that's hard to get Kathleen to love you. Learn your flats.
I'm telling you. Take back everything I said. So anyways, you can see how quickly this can happen. So I can so if I've got a flat that's to scale, okay, I can save this, convert to a pattern, and now it's a pattern. So, and I can do all kinds of things to it. I can grade it, and I can make the backs. Okay, but basically, so people send me patterns, okay? So this was a pattern that was all stuck together. The customer
that's why, because I was like, what is that, a kangaroo pocket? No, it's the sleeve.
No, it's all the pieces were nested together. So what I need to do is I will not grade a pattern until it's been checked, okay? It has to be audited. And the reason why it has to be audited is because when we grade it, there's changes that come about, and if the grader is the last person who had it, then they're going to blame the grader instead of if there's like a minor problem in the pattern, it's just going to get worse.
Right.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do right now, this is how I would audit a pattern, just to briefly go through it for your viewers. Okay, so it's like you can see right here, there's kind of this is obviously some kind of a seam allowance there, right?
So this pattern has a seam allowance?
Well, I'm guessing it does because it's got that hook right there.
Okay.
I'm guessing it does because that looks like the customer put that in. So, and that's great. I encourage my customers to do as much of their work as they possibly can. So it's like 1/2 inch, okay? So I'm going to guess that she's got 1/2 inch everywhere. So I'm going to take off 1/2 inch. Because I need to work with a pattern that doesn't have any seam allowance. Oh, that's not going to work. Control Z. And then I don't know what's on the end. And then I'm going to cut that in half. Wait. Because I only need half the piece too. That's the other thing. That's going to cut using the line and... delete this. Delete that. Okay, and make this a me. So now this is... But I'm going to take off that seam allowance. I'm just going to delete it because I'm trying to get to net here. So I'm cutting this piece in half too. Where am I? So that other one was 1/2 inch everywhere, so I'm assuming this one is too. Okay, so before I can grade a pattern, the first step is for me to get to net, okay? And then I'm going to take the pattern and I'm going to walk all the seams, okay? Flip top to bottom, not both of them. Rotate top to bottom. Alright, so these are the shoulder seams, so I'm going to make sure those match up. Okay, so this one's not bad. You know, it's pretty close. All right, it's not exact, but it's pretty close. And since I'm going to be
finessing that curve,
right, because it has to match exactly, because once I start grading it, the differences will compound.
Right, yeah.
Okay. All right. So the other thing I'm going to look at is right away you see that there's a little bit of a hook there, right? Which we really don't like. Correct?
Yeah. It should be one smooth
line.
Right.
So we're going to straighten these out so we can do surgery on those. So we're just going to, I don't know. Yeah, it's just a tiny bit. Just not.
Yeah, but we've been looking at these for so long. We just see it right away.
Yeah. It's not a lot. It's a minor thing. But I don't want to grade it without correcting it. Because that hook is just going to grow and grow and grow and look worse.
You're going to have like this.
I know.
Like little.
Okay. Ask me how I know. There's a reason why I'm a little obsessed with it, okay? There's nothing like having the sewing line sew up 200 of them like that.
Oh my God.
Yes, it happened. It did happen.
Did they think that was a deliberate design decision?
It's like, why didn't,
You know, their job is not to question the design, right?
No, but all my staff, that is.
Well, I'm talking about in general in the world. It's like the sewers aren't going to be like, is the design supposed to be like this?
Well, that's why that's why I have the attitude I have, because I think I think the sewers are always your boss. My sewers definitely are my boss. They come in here, you can talk to them. That's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted you to take Celeste off for lunch by herself. That way you could prompt her for information, talk to her about whatever you wanted.
Oh, we talked about politics mostly.
Well, I adore Celeste, and I take very good care of my employees.
She did tell me the whole story of how she got hired and her whole living in Florida and.
Yeah, but no, my employees will tell you that they find any mistake, the tiniest little mistake. That's their job. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line up. So I lined up the shoulder line. Okay, so now I'm going to roll shoulder line, check the neckline, and now I'm going to check the side seams. Okay, and.
Yeah, that doesn't look like a Kathleen.
It's okay. Well, no, that's not my armhole. I wasn't hired. See, that's the point.
That's just a comment on how I know your armholes.
Right, that isn't one of my armholes. That's right. But the customer did not hire me for that. The customer hired for me to grade their pattern, and so I'm just going to do the auditing of the style before I actually do the grading. You know, the customer is happy with the product as it is, and it's great. So I'm just going to, they don't have a problem I need to solve, except that one right there, right? So I lengthened that, and that was probably, not even 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so now I'm going to take this.
That's the beauty of digital. It's like you probably wouldn't have caught that on paper.
I know. Yeah.
You could have chalked that up to a cutting error.
Yeah, exactly. So now, then I can. So I'm looking good. So basically, I'm good now. So now I can grade this pattern.
What is this line here?
Oh, these are just guided.
This line and this line.
Those are mirror line. See, I know I took it off.
No, this horizontal line and this vertical line.
Oh, this? Oh, that's a grain line.
Oh, their grain line is set like that? Oh.
Their grain lines are a lot different.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you've got a fabric line and a grain line, which I personally love, especially when you've made as many suits as I have, because a lot of times you'll have a grain line, but the fabric line is an absolute match point, because you want the stripes to match all the way around.
I learned it as a stripe
Yeah, match stripe.
Yeah, match stripe.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, at first I didn't know what you're talking about.
I know, but in the software they call it something else.
Okay.
Okay, but anyway, so I would do the same thing with the sleeve. So I'm going to turn on the measures just to... So, now this sleeve doesn't work at all because, one, there's obviously a hem in there, and we don't...
Well, that's weird. It's not a... It's a curve, not a...
I know. But she's sewing this, and she's been sewing it successfully.
Okay.
But I still need to have some markings in there in order to be able to square it up. So, for example, see, I need to measure that armhole, this armhole, and add them together, okay, and make sure they match up to this. Okay. So, whoa. So this sleeve is actually almost 1.5 inches larger than the armhole.
Is it because you didn't take the seam allowance off this?
Oh, well, there is that. So why don't we do that? There is something to be said for that, huh? Okay. All right, so now let's measure it. Okay. And then that one. So it's a tiny bit larger.
Okay.
So, but that is something I would correct. Okay, that is something I would correct before.
Wait, what's larger, the armhole or the sleeve?
The sleeve.
That should be the reverse of anything, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But it's like, it's not even 1/8 of an inch. So we'll just, and I'm always figuring out new ways to do stuff. Half the time I'm always experimenting with different things.
Not need notches when you're working digitally?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm not there yet.
Oh.
Okay, so now I'm like 0.02 of an inch. So I can call that good.
Yeah.
So so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in some notches here. So I can see, typically I do my front notch. Front notch is 3 inches, okay? So I'm just going to make this the front. And then I do the back at 3.5 and 4.
Okay.
So this one's 3.5, 3.5. Oh, come on. But the way this program works, the notches is pretty cool. So I just have a point, make it a smooth point, and then I tell it it's a double T notch.
Nice.
And that's smooth. Okay. That's smooth. Okay. So now we know that that'll move, and so we also want to put in a notch really for the you can see notch for the shoulder, so it's 6.791.
Oh my God, that takes me back to college. That picture.
Yeah, that's during boot camp. Yeah, we let people. That's where you're going to be staying.
Our sewing studios in school had these model platforms. That's where we had our fittings, and so if we, like, seniors had 24-hour access to the studios, so we would just lay out some polyfill and leftover muslin and just pass that on the model platform.
Awesome. Okay, so now this is ready to be graded. Okay, because we know everything matches.
Perfect.
And then I would also come in here and okay, what would I name that? This is really important. So I'm going to name this S for sleeve.
Okay.
Okay, and also the marking group. Shell. Oh, come on. And then this one is going to be B for back. And the reason why is because it takes longer to plot something that's got a really long name.
Oh, because it has to write all of that every single time.
Yes. And even if you've got an inkjet, it still uses more ink.
Right.
So we abbreviate everything as much as possible. So anyway, so this is F for front, back, and sleeve. And so I would prefer not to grade it. I mean, not to put seam allowances on it until I grade it, which is a complete departure from how we do things by hand. By hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took me it was really hard for me to wrap my head around that. So
when you do something a certain way for so long.
So I'm going to call this G-test. And I would actually have to change the name of that because it will print that out. It will print that. The name of the file is the name of that will print out as a style number. So basically, your name of your file is the style number. Mm-hmm. So on this, it would be no more than 5 digits long. So anyway, so from here, I would. Oh, so this is the cool thing. So I'm going to hit save on this. And this was called, let's call this, we're going to call it G-test 2. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to close this. And I'm going to come over here. And I have that graded pattern over there that's just awesome, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to copy those pieces. File. Copy pattern from another style. I want that one. Yeah, that's a good one. And I guess those, right? Copy. So these are those patterns that I'd already graded. Mm-hmm. See, there they are. Mm-hmm. So I can just take these and apply them. And this is already mirrored, so I don't need to. Come over here.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so fast.
I know.
We are living in the future. I mean, he didn't even offer these classes because this was not a real common thing when I was going to college.
I know.
It wasn't even a consideration to learn.
Well, see, the thing is pattern makers never used software. We didn't. That's not. It was always graders that used it. There's that post that I wrote. It's called Bewildered by Pattern Services that I want people to read. Mm-hmm. So they can see how things work, because you can only see things at your particular point in time in history. You don't know kind of really what preceded you and what the dynamics were going on, mm-hmm. you know. ¿Qué pasó?
We noticed on the fours that the French is a little longer than the back.
See, told you. They find the tiniest little thing wrong, they come to me. Okay, now look at this.
Never sending you guys my sewing. You'll see my patterns and be like, sorry.
So this is the 4. Mm-hmm. So this is the 4.
This is the 4, yes.
Okay, so she's bringing me the 4. And usually what I do when they bring me something like this, and look at, this is the difference. I mean, that's not even, that's not even 16th. Mm-hmm. Okay. But you didn't find it on any other sizes.
So far, no.
Yeah. And this is exactly the reason why we perfect the pattern before we grade, because mm-hmm. this would be much worse.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, this is totally doable. This is no problem with this. Okay, so we're going to let that go, but thank you. But I want to know if you notice anything on the other end.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thanks. So, yeah, but they know not telling me stuff is a firing offense. Mm. So, I mean, you get plenty of warnings, but I've had to let people go because they wouldn't tell me stuff.
So how do you start a pattern from scratch? Like someone gives you...
I don't.
You don't ever now?
No, I don't. I think it's like one of the biggest wastes of time there is.
Because you have a catalog of existing styles that you can work off of?
No, because, hardly ever. I can't say never. It's just that usually, especially these days, people usually have the basis of what they want some way or another. Mm-hmm. I like people to come to me with sizing somehow. What they can draw a picture of anything they want it to look like. Mm-hmm. But I need to know what the dimensions are. So, mm-hmm. It's ideal if the person has a garment. I like the way this fits.
Okay.
And then I work from that.
Okay.
So, because don't say it's like a medium. There's no such thing as a regular size medium, or size 2, or size 4. I mean, everything is just all made up.
Yeah. Well,
You
it's
know?
like garments are like the least regulated industry in the world, I think. So you can just do whatever the hell you want and call it whatever
And
the
that's
hell you
great. And I think that's great. I think that's great, actually. So, anyway, yeah, if you don't like sizing, just start your own company and you can call yourself whatever size you want. So, anyway, so here's our pattern. You saw how easy it was to grade that. The sleeves are a little trickier. You know, sleeves are a pain in the butt.
So when you have a garment and you have a sketch, do you start by hand or do you start
No,
here?
I start here.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I start in here. What we'll do is sometimes we might rub something off.
Okay.
Okay, their pants the way they like them, that they fit them, and then we take that and then put their design attributes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a pair of pants that fits them or fits their fit model well, and then we'll take that and then make their product, you know, view their product with that. So we'll digitize it, and then I clean it up. So the sleeve is a little trickier, and a lot of times I just kind of, you know, do some diddle around. So I'm going to copy this grading right here, capture grading, and I'm going to apply it there, and then capture that grading, and apply that there. Isn't that cool? And then I come over here and capture this grading data.
I almost wanted to have like fairy dust sound effects every time it does that.
Actually, it does.
It's like magic.
Yeah, so it does do some. And then this. Right here, I don't need the full grade. I don't need it to come out. Where's it going to come out to? But I want the height grade. So I can come over here and see I've got X and Y on there. There's a reason why. It's because I'm stupid and I can't remember which one is X and which one is Y. So that's why I have that there.
It's all that math.
So there we go.
Boom.
All right, so now I'm going to measure that, though, to make sure that works out. So here's my... So this will come up. See, and it'll tell me sleeve. And it gives me the actual measurement, and then this is how much it's grading per size.
Okay.
Is that cool or is that cool? All right, and then this is the garment. So it'll do the same. So it'll take... So you can see already that our sleeve... our front is grading less than our sleeve. So I need to come back on that sleeve. Do you see that? So I'll hit minus. See? I'm off like almost 1/4 of an inch on my grade. See, here's my sleeve. This right here. And then this is the front.
So how do you fix that?
Well, we come back and, so I'll come over here and, let's see now, I'm in grading. So we'll just do, I'll come over here and make this go back 1/8 of an inch. Make it go back the other way. Alright, so let's see if that fixes a lot of it, right? So we'll just go and measure it again. Measure this. Alright, and then measure this. And it's, it's...
A lot less.
A lot less, yeah, so it's much better now, right? So I'll come over here and I'll do a little more. Maybe this doesn't need to come up so much, right? So let's see what that is. What's that going up? Good grief, a whole 1/8 of an inch? That's a lot. So maybe we'll make it go down to 1/16. See? So now we'll come over here and so now we'll start finessing it because before I was doing broad strokes and I was doing like the whole measurement of the armhole, all right? And so now we want to finesse it. We want to make sure that this because these two sew together, these two sections sew together, between here and the notch and here and the notch sew together. So we want to make sure that those are complementary. And they're not. Okay? So my sleeve is grading a lot more than my product, than my shirt is. So it's like 1/8 of an inch, or like 3/16 of an inch more. All right? So I'm going to make this go back 3/16 of an inch. 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's measure it now. Clear this out. Measure that and that. And that's pretty darn close.
Yeah, that's the closest we've gotten.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's pretty darn close. Okay. So now we need to measure this right here and this right here. Those need to match up. Let me clear this out. Let me start over. So right here and right here. Hit minus. And now we have a problem the opposite way. The sleeve is not growing enough as compared to the front. See? Front, sleeve. So you can look at this later when you have more time to parse it out. Okay, so I'm going to go, and you can see how I've got these little choices here. You can do it however you want. So I usually have it set on 164 because that's how I like to do things. But let's do that. All right, so let's measure this, and then subtract it. Let me clear that. I don't know if that worked out right. And it's pretty darn close, right?
Yeah.
So I would actually go back and massage that a little bit. But anyway, so you see the point. There's a reason. You can see why we need to make sure that all the seams match up exactly before we start, because we got these tiny little details when it gets graded. So if somebody just wants me to grade a pattern, I can do that. But they have to agree to allow me to audit the pattern to make sure to make it all sew up.
Right.
Yeah, and if they don't want to allow me to do that, then I don't grade it.
Okay.
So, because I don't need the money that much. Because no, the problem is what's going to happen is going to go to the contractor, it's going to go to somebody else, and the designer's going to say, well, I sewed up the medium, it sewed up just fine, so it must have been whatever,
Yeah, the snowball effect.
Right, and it's like, no, there was a small problem there before, it wasn't caught, Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, and I actually have the stuff that can be, to avoid having to do these itty bitty tiny little jobs. I have a $100 minimum just to, so I don't get. I mean, it takes me 15 minutes to set somebody up in my system.
Right.
And you can't charge them for that. So, I mean, that's some time to set up somebody as a customer.
Right.
And people don't think about that.
People don't really think about the cost of anything until they're charging someone. And then they think about, it's one of my things where, everybody thinks that everything is too expensive until they're pricing their own services or goods. Yeah. And then they're like, what do you mean it's too expensive? I spent so much on it.
Right.
And then, everyone wants something cheaper until they're making it.